Hello, BookTube. I've got some mail for you today that I thought we'd open together, since we don't do that all that often. Was a little bump in the mail yesterday. Yesterday was a federal holiday. There was no mail delivered. It was Veterans Day, in which traditionally, in the last 100 years, American president will get in front of a microphone at some event and talk in reverential terms about the sacrifice made by the armed services of this country in defense of its shores and its people and its interests. Except for the current president of the United States, who used the opportunity to slur his way through an almost incomprehensible screed of half sentences and darting little half thoughts. The tiny bits of it that were comprehensible were about himself and not about the military. Except for one little bit that I imagine is the only thing that the fascist-friendly mainstream media will publish about how the military should be pretty happy dying. For him. He didn't say the for him part, but it was as loud as a cymbal. The military should be pretty happy dying for him. But that was just a tiny little fragment of what he said and how he said it. And there was a gallery full of reporters whose nominal job is to report on what they have seen and heard. Not just to take press releases from an autocratic regime, and yet that is exactly what they do. Unless you watch the video, there is video of the whole thing, and unless you watch that video, you will have no idea what the President of the United States sounded and looked like when he gave his slurred remarks. And if you do watch that video and try in any way to compare it to the accounts that will be printed, that have been printed in the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal, you will be reading two completely different things. Might as well have a different guy's name as the guy who was doing the speaking. You will be reading two completely different things. And I don't know what to do about that, but nevertheless, it was Veterans Day, so I didn't get mail. I imagine that's why I have some today. But I was preoccupied all morning, so I wasn't out frequently checking. I was preoccupied all morning with my little baby Bean, who does not like to go outside. I was going to say when it's chilly, but really she doesn't like to go outside at all anymore. She just likes to curl up next to me. But we have some mail. The fact that I wasn't being a watchdog on the front allowed the mail to accumulate. So we have a bunch of stuff, and we can just open it all instead of me opening it off camera. And I will just remind myself, food for thought. I'll just remind myself of that, as you all remind me of when I tell you that I'm opening mail off camera because it makes me furious. We'll just say food for thought. So if one of these packages is a book saying that Donald Trump epitomizes common sense, the return of common sense to government, I can just say food for thought and move on. If one of these books says there are more than two genders among biological organisms, I can just say food for thought and move on. So let's see what the first one is here. It's in pretty shiny packaging. That once upon a time meant YA, but I've noticed that in huge stretches of modern fiction, there's no longer any distinction between YA and non-YA. And it's not because the YA part gamed up. It's because the fiction part gamed down. Romantasy has lowered the reading IQ of an entire generation of readers. So what have we got here? Okay, this comes out in March. I would be surprised if all of these things are next year. This comes out from Bloomsbury. Let's make a little pile here of stuff we don't need. I don't need that. This is called Honeysuckle, and it is by Bar Friedman Tell. Very pretty cover there. What have we got here? I mean, I say what have we got here? It's, of course, dark academia, but let's see what variation it is. Oh, this is Bar Friedman Tell's debut. Oh, how fantastic. What a lovely thing. Let's see here. Okay, the publicist says that she finished the book in one sitting during one of the worst reading slumps of her life. And apparently it worked for that. That's great. This is a loose reimagining of the Welsh myth of Bloodwed, a woman made of flowers. On the edge between meadow and forest, Rory was a lonely child with only his older sister for company. In exchange for being left in peace, his sister made him a playmate, Day, a girl created from flowers and words. For the first time, Rory had a friend. He couldn't be happier until he learns that Day is a short-lived creature. In the end of each season, she must be woven anew or fall gruesomely apart. Every day, Day's decomposition would be permanent. Every time, Day's decomposition would be permanent. As Rory and Day mature and the line between friendship and romance begins to blur, how did I know? Okay. Food for thought. Rory becomes desperate to break the cycle of bloom and decay at any cost. The farther Rory pushes his research and experiments to lengthen Day's existence, that should be further, not farther, the more Day begins to wonder just how much control she really has over her own life, how much autonomy she has. Right. Right. And Rory is falling in love with Day, even though Day is made of flowers. And if you can't, I am sure that you can see the subtext of that. I'm sure that you can. But we got through, and it's a debut, so that's great. Who is Bar Friedman Tell? Very young, a woman, in case you were wondering with that name, a former bookseller and a translator, and a current student at the University of Toronto, studying for a master's degree in library and information science. How fantastic. She lives with her professor husband and 2 very fluffy cats. Okay, well, food for thought. So this comes out in March, in which a young man grows up to become sexually involved with a homunculus made of flowers. So it's a debut. I don't know the original Welsh story, so I have no idea what to expect. Let's see. Let's move on to this thing. One of these big cardboard things here. Let's see what it has. Usually these are excess in padding. Oh, fantastic. Okay, I think we've already seen this. Do you have something for me? Some sort of publicity material? No. A machine put you in that box and did not add anything. Okay. Well, I've already read this book. I've read the PDF that the publisher sent, but PDFs can be a little bit mulish and uncooperative on an e-reader. So when I get that, I often feel like I'm missing something. I have yet to find an e-reader, even my iPad. I have yet to find an e-reading device of any kind that really makes PDFs easy and comfortable in the way that, for instance, EPUB is. So I'm glad that I have the finished copy because I can read this again, although I'm pretty sure it's out already. This is Peter Cozzens, and this is his book, Deadwood. Gold, Guns, and Greed in the American West. And he's the author of The Earth is Weeping, which is a modern-day masterpiece. So we don't have a sheet. We'll just read the dust jacket here like you would in a book. Sifting through layers and layers of myth and legend, from 19th century dime novels to such as Deadwood Dick, to HBO prestige dramas, to the casino billboards outside present-day Deadwood. The prestige drama is the drama on HBO called Deadwood. Which, if any of you know Deadwood, you almost certainly know it from that. You don't know it from Pete Dexter's debut novel. You almost certainly know it from that show, that brilliant, incredible show. Peter Cozzens unveils the true face of Deadwood, South Dakota, the storied mining town that sprang up in early 1876 and came raining down in ashes only 3 years later, destined to become food for the imagination and a nostalgic landmark that now brings in more than 2.5 million visitors each year. That number, I would be willing to bet, is up from 100,000 before the TV show. The TV show ought to be front and center. The HBO drama Deadwood ought to be front and center here. A huge percentage of that tourist traffic comes from the show. That Western romance, we're reminded by Cozzens, the prize-winning author of The Earth is Weeping, retains its allure only as long as we willfully ignore the town's foundational sins. Built on land brazenly stolen from the Lakotas, Deadwood was not merely a place where outlaws lurked, like Tombstone and Dodge City, but was itself an outlaw enterprise, not part of any U.S. territory or subject to any laws or governance. This gave rise to the gun-slinging, stagecoach-robbing, whiskey-guzzling, rampant prostitution, and gambling Deadwood that Deadwood is known for. But it also bred a self-reliance and a spirit of cooperation unique on the frontier, which made it an exceptionally welcoming place for black Americans and Chinese immigrants at a time of deep-seated discrimination. And this, the Dust Jacket says this is the first book to tell this complex story in full. This book reveals how one frontier town came to embody the best and worst of the West, a relic of humanity's eternal quest to create order from chaos, a greater good from individual greed, and security from violence. Okay. All right. Okay. And you've got, in the middle, you've got color and black and white photos. Great. So we have Saul Starr. We have Seth Bullock. We have George Hearst, the mining patriarch, whose only concern is for the color. And we also have somewhere in here, I'm assuming that you will be first. I'm assuming you're the very first thing that we will see, unless there's no picture. But how could that be? Let's see. Yes, that man right there is Al Swearingen. so that's going to be great. It's going to be great to reread this. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed this author. All right, let's move on here. Let's keep going. What have we got here? Thing? Big and heavy? What are you? Oh, it's two things. Okay. It's two things. What have we got here? Okay. Oh, I wonder. These look indie. I wonder if I'm supposed to review these. We will find out. This is called Sea Changes, a narrative poem in sprung pentameter by Bowman Desai. Sea Changes. Tiny little, a slim volume of poetry in sprung pentameter. So this is not just lines stacked on top of each other, as we so often see in poetry. This actually has a rhythm to it. Let's see here. Poems are words bejeweled, and as jewels feed not the miner, the poem feeds not the poet, but the ones left behind, the readers of the words, caretakers of the works of Poe and Plath and Berryman, who cared not a dime for Poe and Plath and Berryman in their time, or care less for the Poes, Plaths, and Berrymans living today than the dead of yesterday. But such is the way of the world. Well, aren't you a bit cynical? Okay. All right. So slim volume of poetry, and then there's this great big thing. What is this? James Jupy, Nakhon Phanom, the domino that did not fall, and my Thai hometown. Look at that. It's an oversized thing. Here, let me show you compared to Deadwood. It is an oversized thing. What is this? After graduating Cornell's civil engineering class of 1971 and a 5-week stint as a taxi driver in New York City, the author shipped out for the Peace Corps adventure in Thailand. After completing his 2-year turn, he was ready to go back home when, after meeting a flirtatious Thai Junati, he decided to take a home leave and return for 1 more year. Upon his return to Thailand, he found himself immersed in a very personal dilemma while trying to escape the confluence of Thai government, Peace Corps, and counterinsurgency politics in the communist-sensitive province where he was stationed. Good Lord. Sounds like the beginning of a Graham Greene novel. Okay. So it's a larger book, physically. It has these wall-to-wall pages with the lovely artwork on the top of of each chapter, and it looks like it's just going to be an account of that. Nothing just about it. It sounds like that's charged with adventure. But any of you who are in love with Thailand might want to know about this. I wonder what this means. I suppose I'll find out, right? All right, let's move on. Those are 2 indie books. Almost certainly I will be reviewing them. So let's deal with this next one here. Let's see if there's anything in there we don't want to miss. What have we got here? Okay, this next one is a collection of what the paperback refers to as essays. They won't be essays. But there'll be reflections of some kind or stand-up comedy routines or whatnot. This is called Jazz June by Clifford Thompson, a self-portrait in essays. Another thin thing, but well-designed here. And this traces a life, not by recounting its major events, but by going deep into its representative moments, The moments of wonder, hope, fear, uncertainty, humor, love, and epiphany that make up human experience. Actually, a wonderful way to do a memoir, which is, I think, basically what this is. Along the way, as a son of a widowed mother, as a young man in a big city, as a husband and a father, as an aging empty nester, and as an artist, the author discovers with each new role more of who he is. A lover of the arts, he offers creative reflections on literature, music, and film. A black American whose life is informed but not defined by race, he embraces black culture while remaining defiantly himself. And it's got blurbs on the back. Well-designed paperback there. Very good. I don't have any dates for it. This author's written a number of books. Okay, great. So, a self-portrait in essays. I rather like that approach. And then what's this other one? It's big. Goodness gracious, how elaborate are you? And you're wrapped in plastic too. Well, we can't have that, right? I know you're very concerned for your well-being, but I need to be able to look inside you, and I think my viewers should look inside you as well. Oh, God. Here, the scissors within reach. Let's see if we can open this thing. Rather than go by anything that might be on the back. Yeah, there's quite a bit of text on the back, but we want to, if it's this big, it must be for the pictures, and we want to look at those pictures, so let's put that stuff down there. Put the scissors away. Always remember to put the scissors away. So this is by Deborah Brown English, and it is called Time's Breath, an Odyssey in Words and Pictures. And it's even bigger than Nakom Phanam. It's an even bigger book. A big, beautiful, well-designed hardcover that is indeed full of artwork. So the artwork is not just on one middle page. It's all throughout the book on many different, in many different ways, many different kinds of art. So what is this? In a lighthouse off the coast of Norway, a book is found in the debris of a small boat. It contains pictures and stories written in several hands. Together they tell the tale of a volcanic island in the North Atlantic called Tokket Fall, lost a century before, and of the people, animals, and mythical beings who lived there. Is this fiction? With a narrative that unspools through the vibrant writing and over 100 original drawings and paintings, this extraordinary debut novel, oh my, another debut, explores the philosophy, tragedy, and humor of our collective history. It reminds us that the nature of time might resemble a ball of twine, and that how we live in our world says much about who we are. And this also has blurbs. Okay, so this thing is a novel. It's very unconventional, but it is a novel. It looks like no novel I've ever seen. Okay, great. Although I should point out that the nature of time does not resemble a ball of twine. Okay, but anyway, let's move on. We'll finish up with this last package. It's quite big. In fact, it's too big to be one book. There's no book this size that is still coming to me this year. I know that. Let's see. Yeah, it's two books. Let's see what we have here to finish up. So this is not a bad mail haul here. Oh no. Oh no. All right. All right. Well, one of these is a duplicate. So that's a shame. Let's see here. We've already seen this. This came out came out on the 4th of November. This is that book about the Luftwaffe. This is Defenders of the Reich. David Murphy has a copy of this, I believe, now. So now I have one too. That's great. I didn't read the copy that I got before. I just gave it to him. So now I'll get a chance to read it. This is a story of the Luftwaffe fighters armed and their desperate defense of the Third Reich from the growing Allied bomber offensive in World War II. And the author has specialized in military aviation. So we've already seen this, but I'm glad to have a copy of my own. But there's another book in here as well from the folks at Osprey, which is great. Very glad to be on a couple of their mailing lists. This one does not look familiar. And it comes out on November 18th, so that's next Tuesday. This is by Jeffrey Cox, and it's called Devil's Fire, Southern Cross, the conclusion of the Guadalcanal Solomons campaign in October of 1943 and February of 1944. Solomons campaign. This new history examines the final months of the crucial Guadalcanal-Solomons campaign during the Pacific War, which ultimately determined the successful conclusion of the Pacific War for the Allies. It had not been a smooth process. The campaign continued in fits and starts, with both the U.S. Navy and Imperial Japanese Navy making crucial errors. As the pendulum of a war swung, there was one distinct advantage to the Allies: the successful efforts of the United States Army Signal Intelligence Section and the Naval Communications Special Unit to monitor, intercept, decode, and translate Japanese messages. It was thanks in part to this intelligence breakthrough that victory was secured at the Battle of Empress Augusta Bay and Cape St. George, as well as the bitterly contested Bougainville invasion. The success of the campaign was also due to the improvements in strategic and tactical doctrine on the part of the U.S. Navy, so much so that the Battle of Cape St. George was dubbed the almost textbook-perfect battle. Okay, well, this clearly needs to go to David, if he doesn't have it already. I can't remember if I got a copy of this before and sent it to him. I don't think I did. It doesn't look familiar. But he's definitely going to want it. And it's the 18th, so he could review it. Who is the author? Jeffrey Cox, a litigation attorney and an independent military historian. Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. So he just went about researching the nuts and bolts of this himself. I wish that were a lot more successful than it often is. Oftentimes, there are still, believe it or not, record-keeping outfits, organizations that will immediately ask for your academic affiliation. And if you say that you don't have one, they'll say, well, we're not interested then. We're not going to share anything that we have with you. I think those are fewer and fewer in the information wants to be free era. I think those people, those organizations are fewer and fewer, but they do still exist. So to be an independent military historian, that is fantastic. Okay, and it looks like he's written 2 other volumes on the Guadalcanal-Solomons campaign. Okay, fantastic. Well, World War II history. Great. So one was a double. I'm not sure that this is a double, so this will have to go out to David. So there we go. there is the mail. Not a bad mail haul. Plenty of stuff here. Plenty of variety. And no need to shut down the video, which is a small victory on its own. So I will wrap this up for now, and I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.